figured I would do this video this morning down at the beach. It is Canada Day and it is really, really lovely out. So yeah, I'm down at the end of Balmacara, which is a road in Gordon Head. This is the neighborhood that I grew up in. My grandpa owned the house up on Ferndale Road at the top of Balmacara for many, many, many years. So we used to come down to this beach in particular with me and my many cousins. I have 13 cousins on my mom's side, and we're all within kind of a 10-year age range, so lots of people to play with, and we used to come down to this beach a lot. So I'm gonna take you guys down there this morning. Give you some perspective. This, where my finger is downtown Victoria. This is the Gordon Head neighborhood. This is Mount Doug, which I hike all the time. And then this is the beach that we are at. This is the beach access. It's so pretty in here. I love it. I was listening to the radio in the car on my way to a showing the other day, and AJ Cruz, who is on 98.5, was talking about how 1 in 3 people that live in BC right now are apparently seriously considering moving to another province. This just broke my heart. I think it's kind of more in the 18 to 35-year-old range that they're seeing a lot of these people consider this relocation, because if they go somewhere, for example, like Calgary, their money's going to go a lot further. I've heard the Calgary market had been on fire earlier this year, tons of multiple offers, things selling way over ask, but recently it sounds like that market has actually slowed down a little bit. I just kind of think about, now that I have a son and he's only 20 months old at this stage, but you know, thinking ahead about the idea of your kid wanting to leave to move to another province to find a more affordable lifestyle is very sad. I know that that is just like the reality of life sometimes, but it does break my heart a little bit, because I feel like I'm very privileged to have been born and raised here on the island. I left for a number of years, but to be able to come back here and to be able to have a home and to be able to raise my family in that home in a nice neighborhood in Victoria, very, very grateful for that. So there's definitely a number of people who are looking to leave Victoria, I would say predominantly just due to affordability. And there are also a lot of people who still want to move here because it is a pretty desirable place to live. I'm down at the beach this morning. It is just beautiful, not too hot. It's got a nice breeze, and I think that the weather is one of the huge draws for people looking to relocate here. The bulk of my clients that are looking to move to Victoria, because I do specialize in relocation buyers with my YouTube channel, I attract a lot of that, and about 40% of my business actually comes from YouTube. But I would say most of the time it's people coming from Ontario or coming from Vancouver, really. I've never had anyone reach out to me who's looking to move here from Halifax or Newfoundland or Saskatchewan or Alberta. Actually, I had one person earlier this year reach out to me who was thinking about moving here from Calgary. They were lovely. They came out to Victoria for a little bit of a scouting trip. I had coffee with them, and I think after chatting a bit more about our market and them touring around a few places, they decided that I think Calgary is still the more affordable option. And even though they'd really love to be here on the West Coast, it just made more sense for the time being for them to stay in Calgary. So I get that. I'm definitely seeing more and more people move here from Vancouver. Victoria used to be way more affordable than Vancouver, but it is definitely caught up a bit. Still more affordable, but not dramatically more affordable. On the weekend, I was over at one of my clients' condos. I helped them move here last year from Vancouver. A lovely, lovely retired couple. They just are the best people, and I loved working with them so much, and they've become very dear friends. They had this party this weekend because they did this big kitchen renovation, and they had this unveiling party, and they had all of these friends over, and I'm just so excited for them because I asked them at the party how they're settling into Victoria and if they've managed to make any friends, and they said, Ainsley, we have way more friends here than we had in West Vancouver. And I said, how is that possible? You lived in West Vancouver for forever. And they just said that where they were living in West Vancouver was, a big mixture of young professionals and young families and some retirees. But this area in Victoria over in Songhees, which we helped them settle into, it's all retirees. This particular building, they've met just so many friends in that building, and they have such a great sense of community. And I'm so happy for them. Just made me so happy. So there's definitely great opportunities here in Victoria to reconnect and rebuild your community at any stage of life, even if you are retired. I always think it's so brave of people at that stage of life to really consider uprooting themselves and starting fresh. But they had kids in town here and grandkids, so I understand that just makes sense to want to be close to your people. And then I have some other clients. They're actually repeat clients who I helped move back to Victoria earlier this year, and they had moved up island. They were like, we're going to buy a nicer house. Our money's going to go further up island. We're going to move up there. And they did, and they liked it, and they were gone for about 3 years, but then they were like, Victoria is just so special. We want to move back. So I helped them make that transition. And I think that a lot of people are considering moving up island. I know Nanaimo is just getting so much growth these days, and so many people transitioning over from Vancouver because the price difference is insane. Your money just goes so much further in Nanaimo, and you still have, a good quality of life with all the outdoor activities that you would ever dream of. Personally, I don't love Nanaimo as a city. I feel like the downtown area really needs a lot of work, but I understand why people want to move there. It can be a great option for people if an affordable neighborhood or affordable city is, at the top of your list. Normally when people reach out to me from my channel, they're like, hey Ainsley, we are thinking about moving to Victoria, or we're planning to move to Victoria. Would you be able to help us? And I'm always like, yes, of course, obviously, I would love to help you. And it kind of transitions from there into this discovery call to hear more about what their goals are and what their lifestyle is like and what they're really hoping to find here in Victoria. And then we can kind of help guide and educate them as to whether or not it's going to be a good fit or what pockets might be a better fit for them than others. But this year, I'm getting more calls from people saying, hey, Ainsley, we're thinking about moving to Victoria, but we're also looking at Ladysmith. We're also looking at Nanaimo. We're also looking at other places up island. The goal would really be to live in Victoria, but, some of these other areas, our money just goes a little bit further. Like, look at this house in Ladysmith that we could get for $1.5 million versus what we could get in Victoria for $1.5 million. So having more of those conversations, which makes sense given the, affordability issues with how much mortgage rates have increased in recent history. And that's just really putting extra pressure on people for what they're able to buy right now. So if you are thinking about moving to Victoria, but you're also thinking about moving somewhere else on Vancouver Island, then I can certainly help connect you with other agents and other locations on the island. And we can maybe kind of work together to help you figure out what might be the best fit for you. I've done that with other clients in the past. So definitely reach out. I would love to help come up with a plan to help you navigate that whole transition. I'm also seeing a lot of families moving here to Victoria from, again, Vancouver or Ontario, maybe families that are living closer to Toronto and just looking for that slower pace of lifestyle that Victoria offers. It's definitely not as slow of pace of lifestyle as it was, when I was growing up, but it's still a much slower pace of lifestyle than Vancouver or Toronto. So seeing lots of that. One of my really close girlfriends moved back here probably 6 years ago from Vancouver to raise her family. Her parents have retired here in Victoria, and after many years of working in hospitality over in Vancouver and absolutely loving Vancouver, once she had her first child, she was just like, I just need to be a little bit slower pace of life. I need to not spend quite as much time in my car, not quite as much time in traffic, and she wanted to be closer to her parents here on the island. I've definitely had a number of clients kind of in similar situations, and so it's always a fun challenge. I love helping people figure out like that neighborhood that's just going to be the best fit for them. A lot of the young families I find, especially if they're moving from from Vancouver are really drawn to the West Shore areas like Langford and Colwood, because those areas are a little bit further out, and some people that are born and raised in Victoria don't love them so much because they don't want to spend the half an hour in their car to come into town. But people coming from bigger cities don't care about spending 30 minutes in their car to get to downtown Victoria. That's just something that would be normal for them on day-to-day life over in those other areas that they had lived. Langford has a lot of newer construction, and Colwood has a lot of newer construction that kind of ticks a lot of boxes for these young families, kind of 3 bedrooms on an upper floor, maybe a basement, a backyard, and there's some great townhouse options and also condo options in those neighborhoods. I do read the comments that people write on my YouTube videos, and occasionally someone will write, "Why would anyone want to move to Victoria? It's so insanely expensive. There's so many more homeless people downtown. It's just not what it used to be." And I would say Victoria has definitely changed, and we definitely have more homeless than we used to. But really, I think that when you look at it from a global perspective, there has been so many places that have seen this kind of change in the last number of years, and we are not alone in seeing some of those changes here. And overall, I still think Victoria is an incredible place to live. I would 100% agree that it is a pretty expensive place to live, but sometimes in life you get what you pay for, and this is the only place that I would want to live. I think that Victoria offers just this incredible quality of life that would be hard to beat anywhere else in Canada. I think that we're also seeing a number of people who work in the tech sector moving to Victoria. Victoria in more recent years has had a very evolving tech scene and is attracting a lot of that demographic, it seems. Thanks so much for watching. Again, I'm Ainsley Gower. If you're planning a move to Victoria, BC, I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to help you. Be sure to subscribe for more videos like this.